So, do you believe in angels? Hi, I'm Diane. I guess it's because of the holidays, but I've been thinking about my Kurt. I wanted to pick your brain about some thoughts I've been having. Actually, I've been having them for years. Now, there are many people who claim to have had interactions with angels on this earth. Like there's no other way to explain it other than it was an angel. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. So, when Kurt was killed, I was broken. Could not understand why that had to happen, why it had to happen to us, all those normal things that you think, which really you shouldn't think that way. Life is random. But I started watching near-death experiences on YouTube. I know you know what that is. It's people like who have died on the operating table and then was brought back, and then they told about a heavenly experience. I started watching. I've done it for years. I actually did it a month ago. I love watching them. I try to picture what Kurt's experience would have been, and it helps me. It makes me feel better to know that he's in a wonderful place, a loving place, and doesn't have to deal with any of this earthly mess anymore. Okay, so 3 years ago, I was watching near-death experiences, and this lady said that when she got there, she asked this being why she had had such a hard life, and the being said to her, because you agreed to it before you left for Earth. And then I started watching a lot of those where people were reminded that they had agreed to whatever their life had been on Earth. Well, that got me to thinking a lot. Now, hang on, because I think deeply. I like to ponder things, and it may sound a little woo-woo to you, but it has helped me. So I'm going to tell you. What if Kurt, or whatever his name was before in heaven, before he came to Earth as a newborn child, what if he were asked, do you agree to go to Earth for a life? Quinn. And agree to love everyone you meet, to somehow make people drawn to you, and show others how to live with joy and love and giving, and to always acknowledge the less fortunate, and to help anyone you come in contact with. Your mission will be to teach others through your own actions. Do you agree to that? And do you agree to lose your life tragically while you're very young? And Kurt, or whatever his name was, said, Yes, I agree to that. So he was sent here on earth. Now let me tell you some things about Kurt. He was the sweetest child, little baby, cutest thing you've ever seen. He was kind and loving, and he grew up to be 5'2" at the most. He was short. It did not bother him. It did not hinder him. He wasn't ashamed of it. He would make jokes about it and make everyone laugh. Now, when he would go to Walmart with his mom shopping, if he saw anyone that needed help, he would rush over and help them. That's just who he was. And God forbid he saw an old woman loading her car with groceries. He would look at his mom and she'd go ahead. He'd rush over and unload the car for the old lady. And he wasn't the type that if he came up on an old lady to scare her, you could see that he was the sweetest thing ever, unintimidating, and that he only wanted to help her. Yeah. Now, when he was in Little League, these things that I'm about to tell you are things coming from a coach, from one of his coaches, that relayed all these stories to us at a later time. But when he was in Little League, this coach noticed that after the game, some of the other team members from the other opposing team would run over and congregate around Kurt. Now this is when he was like 6 or 7 or 8, that people were always drawn to him. Other children were always drawn to him. And he was so funny. He kept people laughing. It's amazing. He had a very sophisticated, dry humor that was right on. I couldn't ever figure out how he did it. But he was so funny, so funny. Everyone loved him. Now, the senior ball team members, they don't have much to do with the juniors, the smaller guys. They kind of feel elite being the senior ball players, But Kurt was a junior. He was 15 and he played on the baseball team. And those guys that were seniors were drawn to him. They would congregate around him and hear his stories and his funny wit, and they'd laugh, and they kept their arms around him, and if they saw him across campus, they'd go, "Hey, Kurt!" and yell, and Kurt would see them, and Kurt would kind of raise his head up and smile. He was so sweet. Anyway, now one day, downstairs, there was an upstairs for the seniors, downstairs for the junior ball players, in the the building where they stored everything and stayed, and they're all hunting Kurt. What happened to Kurt? Where is Kurt? And the coach walked in. They said, "Coach, where's Kurt?" He said, "I don't know. I haven't seen him." So he's walking up the steps, and he said, "I know where he is." Now, these junior boys are not allowed upstairs where the senior boys are. They're not allowed. He thought, "I know where he is." So he walked up to the top of the steps. And Kurt was sitting on a sofa in the middle of all of these guys, and they had their arm around him. And they were all laughing. And the coach just kept on walking. He didn't tell Kurt that he wasn't supposed to be up there. I mean, people were drawn to him. I don't know how he did it. He was such a little guy, such a cute little guy. all the kids in his class wanted to be in his room, in the different rooms as they moved around during the day. They all wanted to be in Kurt's class because he kept the class laughing. He was never disruptive or disrespectful to the teacher. Even the teachers loved him. He was just fun. He was just fun. And I think that's why people loved him. And another trait of Kurt's was the downtrodden, the kids who didn't have friends, the kids who sat alone a lot. He made it a point to go over to them and start talking to them. And he would end up making them laugh. So they loved him too. He couldn't stand the thoughts of anyone not having any friends or being alone. He was just, oh my God, I think he was an angel. I do. So, through his actions, he showed everyone how to live. How to live. Now, at his funeral, there were over 2,000 people there. 2,000. People were turned away. This is a mega church. This is where we went to church. They turned even some of my family members away. There was just nowhere to go, no way to get in the door. The lobby was full. The sanctuary was full. People were lined up against the back wall. And there was an overflow room, which had a camera, into the sanctuary. That room was full. There was just no way to house everybody at the funeral. That wasn't because we were well known or because of who we were. We were normal people. We were nothing. We were normal with normal jobs. The 2,000 people were there because of Kurt. They were there because of Kurt. That told you what kind of person he was. They were still drawn to him, even at a funeral. So, he died on the 7th. Now, I have heard that 7 means completion. So that has another meaning. He died on the 7th. Like, your job is done here. You've completed your mission. You can go home now. And when he got home, someone told him, "Well done." I know that happened. Well done, Kurt. So I do believe he was sent for a reason. It's the only way it makes sense to me, guys. It's the only way it makes any kind of sense. And look what he left behind. He left behind a legacy of love and giving. That his mom, who, by the way, is pretty much the same way as Kurt is, she started a nonprofit in his name, Kurt's Closet, where she gives clothes and shoes and everything to school-age children so that they can go to school and feel confident as the kid they're sitting beside. They're not going to be labeled poor because they're not going to be dressed poor. They're going to be dressed nice, have nice backpacks and shoes and smell good. All of that stuff. That's Kurt's legacy, and it's carried on by his mom. So maybe Kurt wasn't an angel. I don't know. I know nothing. But he was an angel to me. Love's coming your way.